some Undertakers. Hello and welcome to Number 9 Talk with me, your host Dom, and John Sinclair and Ian Pearson from Newcastle Pride and Newcastle, United as one. Let's just roll the intro. Well, that was a bit of fun. It was a bit cracked up there for me. Anyway, welcome everyone who's watching, and welcome to my guests. How you doing, guys?
I'm great. How are you doing today? You good?
Yeah, I'm good. You, Ian?
Not doing too badly. Lockdown day 4050, same as every other day.
It's like Groundhog Day, isn't it? Let's get the groundhog on the show,
Yeah, you should be privileged.
Ahead. Yeah,
you should be privileged that I'm out in my dressing gown for the first time in a week.
Well, we're all that bad at the minute. We just can't be bothered anymore, can we? Just going to run this video for you, Ian. Just to
this
start
isn't
off.
Just about me.
It's not just about me.
Or me.
This is about you and me.
This is about us.
This is about everyone we connect with.
Everyone who makes our club.
Everyone who makes our community.
This is about celebrating what makes every one of us different.
Because that's what makes us united.
United as one.
United as one.
United as one.
I don't know what's going on here. It's all a bit slow. Sorry, guys. Yeah, Ian, just talking to you there. We were talking about Pride and the Pride March in Newcastle this year. Do you want to give us your bits on that?
Yeah, so the video just seen there was made by Newcastle United when they launched the United as One brand in April of 2019. The 11 people are in that video, including the very good-looking one in the middle. Is the 11 United as One ambassadors to showcase the variety of people who are associated with Newcastle United. You could see it was a mixture of players there. There was Jamal Lascelles, there was Shola there, and there was a mixture of staff and fans from across a wide spectrum of society. And it incorporates a lot of different diversity and inclusion initiatives linked with the club. For example, it includes the Newcastle United Disabled Supporters Association. So they're under that umbrella. The women's football team and the investment that's been made in them has come out of that as well. You've got things, community work like, I don't know if you know this, they run a memory cafe for elderly fans who maybe get diagnosed with dementia, to help them, to recall from the past, so that it helps with their conditions. And again, that's free. Obviously, that was prior to lockdown, but they would get speakers coming in like Bob Moncur and such like, and helping them out. So they've converted some boxes into sensory rooms for kids with autism to be able to enjoy the game without the problem of the loud noises and such like, and they give them ear defenders if they want to sit in the crowd. So it's a really good initiative. It's been going for a couple of years, and obviously it's come into focus recently because there's been quite a lot of discussion around racism in football and homophobia in football. And one of the schemes that was set up just before United as One is the group that I co-founded and co-chair, which is United with Pride, which is the LGBTQ plus inclusive fans group for Newcastle United Football Club. So we've been going a couple of years. You saw a couple of photographs there of the type of work we do. So when you're talking about LGBT inclusion, there's a lot of visibility work that gets done. We also have social events where we can all meet up in a safe place where we know we're not going to suffer from any homophobic abuse. We do things like the scarves, like the one I'm wearing, because if there's visibility in the ground, I love the cap, by the way, very good. If there's visibility in the ground, then it reduces the likelihood of people using the wrong language. I don't know, John, if you come across some racist language much, but what we tend to find is that people, if they don't think gay people are sat around them, they'll maybe more likely to shout some things that are actually homophobic. Whereas if they're sat next to somebody with a rainbow scarf on, they'll be less likely to. And I think it's a similar thing with racism. When you've got if you sat next to somebody who is black, you're less likely to be racist. So it's about getting more people from a diverse background into the ground, and opening a Castle United up to make sure everybody feels they're part of that crowd, they're part of that family.
Yeah.
Thing is as well, I mean, I've been to football matches for well over 30 odd years, and I have no problems at all whatsoever with people being. I don't get names called. I don't get people calling us black this and black that sort of thing. We're just all the same. Doesn't matter what color you are, whether you're black and white, purple, you are the same. We all love football. Football for me is the number one sport in the world today, right? And look, at the end of the day, I wish we can do more podcasts like this. I think it's brilliant.
Yeah, I completely agree with that, John. And I love the way you've just spoken out there. That's wonderful to do. But I do feel that there's too much going on with other fans. Like Ian just said there, people distance themselves, and if that person's been distanced, they'll get the most abuse because they can't do anything about it. So it's a terrible state of affairs, and I feel sorry for anyone who feels that way, and I feel sorry for the people who get this abuse totally. I think it's just disgusting. So to you, John. There, I mean, over your time supporting, just being in football, there has been. Sorry to bring this up again, but it has been a problem in sport, not just football. In sport, the racism and the fact that nothing seems to be really done about it.
Yeah, I totally agree. This has been going on for years and years and years. When is this going to stop? I mean, you get footballers as well and calling like names on the pitch as well. Like, say, John Joe Shelby, for example, I'm going to come on to him when he called Zeiss, I think his name was, a racial name. And it took about months before it got found out. And he got like a 5-game ban, 6-game ban, something like that. I mean, if anyone makes racial remarks on the pitch, for me personally, I ban them for 6 months. There's no place for it at all whatsoever. You just can't have that. And it's been going for years, and no one ain't doing something about it, which is a shame because we're trying to root it out. We're trying to make sports for everybody. And what's going to be done about it? You're supposed to kick out racism sort of thing, and it's still going on today. It was worse than that in the 70s, but it's just getting worse 40 years later. And I'm afraid it's just going to go on and on and on until someone puts a stop to it.
Yeah.
The thing is, in terms of in stadium, it is a big improvement. Perhaps the minority who do use these terms and racist or homophobic terms, rather than doing it in a public place like a pub or in stadium, they now tend to do it online instead. So we tend to see most of the things that have been reported in the last 2 or 3 weeks have been a sort of online racist attacks towards Premier League players. So that, and obviously there's a discussion around whether the social media platforms should be doing a lot more to make people who post on their platforms accountable. and making sure they are identifiable. So if they're going to actually type something that you'd be arrested for in ground, then they can be found, you know, those details can be passed over to the police and the police can nail them. And I think that time, it's something we've been saying from day one. So my group, Unite with Pride, we're also on social media. We have to handle a lot of online abuse, and we always report it. We'll screenshot it. We'll send it to the club. We have regular meetings with the Northumbria Police. We know the system, the reporting system is very robust, but very rarely do they get a prosecution because they'll get so far, but at the end of it, there'll be an anonymous troll that's managed to be clever enough to evade, you know, anybody finding who they really are. So something has to change there. It's not that there's willing from the club. So if you've been to the ground in the last 2 years, you'll have seen the Unite as One posters and symbols and advertising hoardings and on the TV. There's a text line number. If you come across anything abusive, you can text in, you know, to say what you've seen and heard. You can do it for online abuse as well. The text system at Newcastle United is as good as any in the UK. And they get lots of reports and they do process them all. And then nothing gets done about it other than the reporting because the police can't find the individuals online quite often. So there's definitely an issue around online abuse.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, look, we come on to, you know, the fact with the online abuse, you know, what we're all saying is you need to have some sort of, you know, an ident before you can have a social media account first before, because there's so many other accounts out there who, you know, people have 2, 3, 4, 5 accounts, so they can just keep on abusing the same person, and it you know, we come back to it. It's just disgusting. All right, Paul, just to bring you in, I did notice that, you know, you put up, I'm here, hello. It's nice to see you in the Newcastle dressing room. You know, can you report anything from the dressing room?
Absolutely nothing. It's very quiet.
Isn't there?
Nothing at all. Very quiet.
Very quiet. Yeah, we're just on about, you know, the different problems within not just football, but within sport. You know, homophobic, you know, racism, and you know, what would be your whole, you know, take on the whole matter?
Well, I mean, I agree with what you said. I think it's a wonderful thing what they're doing. I've seen lots of stuff going on when I've been to the matches, you know, promoting everything like that, and it can only be a good thing. Personally, where I sit, I've never heard any racist or homophobic remarks. If I did, I'd probably say something, because I can't stand for that kind of thing, to be honest. You know, I mean, John, he's a good friend of mine, and if I heard people speaking to John like that, then I'd back him up 100%. But I also agree that it's very difficult for the police to get a hold of these people. You know, when you sort of talk about online abuse, you know, it annoys me, because people know they can sit behind the keyboards and get away with it the majority of the time. I heard you just mention there, Dom, about, you know, social media companies needing to give some sort of ID before they can have an account, so they know who these people are. So the social media, they'll have servers, etc., across the world big enough to hold all the information that they need. So there's no excuse for them not to. I mean, I wouldn't have a problem, you know, giving my details to have a social media account. It wouldn't be a problem. But it would be a problem to these online trolls, undoubtedly, because they're too frightened to come forward, and, you know, they wouldn't say it to people's faces half the time. So yeah, I think everybody can do more about it, including the social media companies. But, you know, it's like they say, that the police have very limited resources to try and find these people.
Yeah, it's a bad thing to go through, really. I mean, yeah, you was going to say that, John?
No, I just said to Paul, well said.
Yeah.
It's much appreciated to hear, Paul, because one thing that we find is people in stadiums do sometimes struggle to want to confront if they did hear it. And you said you'd confront it no problem and call it out, which is great. Not everybody do that. That's why there's a text line number, because you can always just text and then the steward will deal with it fair without needing to get involved. So if you're not confrontational type of person, then it's easy to do. And in stadium, of course, you've got things like CCTV, you've got the stewards there. They also they have other methods by which they catch people, and they do. And when they're catching in stadium, of course, they can prosecute them very quickly and easily. Like I say, online is so much different. And yet we've had this last week. You know, we've had Facebook sort of all be on the news and stuff, saying about, you know, we deal with this many, we block this many accounts and millions, which they do. What I struggle to understand is if I fancy a pint of brown ale this morning when I got up, I know that within 5 minutes of fancying that pint of brown ale, there'll be something on my Facebook as an advert advertising brown ale.
Yeah, it's
so,
amazing,
you know,
how that happens.
Yeah, it's quite scary in a way, you know, that we've got all these clever devices that know exactly what we want, who we are, what our preferences are, and yet social media companies can't easily track who the trolls are online, you know, sort of throwing abuse out. And I mean, we get, you know, we get that flag out of my stadium. We had a lot of abuse when the takeover was about to happen. Supposedly, a lot of homophobic people got a lot of confidence, and we're talking UK-based people, sort of saying that we were all going to be hung at half time or stoned as half time entertainment and things like that, and other such. And things.
I can't understand that. I mean, I really can't. In this day and age, stuff like that being said, I mean, it's not just about sort of homophobic or racist remarks. I had it myself about 5 years ago. You know, John knows very well that I suffer from Parkinson's, and I got diagnosed about 5 years ago. And I originally had, you know, a YouTube channel and everything like that, and you know, I had well over 3,000 people follow me and things like that, and I started getting trolled, saying, you know, things like, oh, your kids will be embarrassed. You can't do anything with your kids anymore. They'll wish you were dead, instead of just sitting there shaking all the time. And the bottom line is, I don't, because I'm under good medication these days. You know, medication has changed so much in the last few years with regards to a lot of illnesses. I don't sit and shake all day. You know, I'm under good supervision at the hospital. I'm under good medication, but I let it get to me, and I eventually deleted everything, and I lost all my followers and everything. You know, but since I wanted to come back, I've started watching more people again on YouTube, and people like yourself, Ian, who do a lot for, you know, online abuse, racism, homophobia, whatever it may be. But those people kind of inspired me to come back. And yeah, I've had it again since I've come back, but not half as much. But I've made a lot of good friends through social media. So there is a good side to it as well. Because, you know, I'm good friends with John now. I wouldn't have had that opportunity. You know, Dom, you know, I've spoken to you before, and you know, I've got some very, very good friends. I class as really good friends through the power of social media. And I'm sure when all this, you know, horrible thing is with COVID is over, everyone can meet up and face to face, and, you know, be that supportive group for everybody. But I just think it's fantastic work what you're doing, Ian, because it doesn't matter how much it goes on. I know you guys will never stop doing what you're doing, and I certainly won't stop doing what I'm doing because of any trolls. John won't, Dom won't, nobody will. You know, these people have to realize that they can't get to us anymore. You know, whether it be homophobia, racist remarks, or about people's illnesses, it will not work anymore. So, you know, I'm coming out fighting, and I truly believe what you say, Ian, and I'm 100% behind your cause.
It's good to hear. Thanks very much for that, Paul. And just to point out that obviously the club themselves, again, if you receive any abuse that's linked into a disability, whether it be visible or invisible, then you're quite entitled to send screenshots or recordings to the club's United One account, and they will do the best to identify any social media accounts that are linked to Newcastle United, and they'll work the police to do that if necessary. So, like I said, the systems are in place. It's just the platforms themselves need to catch up with the systems that sports put in and that the police are putting in.
Yeah. Brilliant, guys. I mean, I'll sit here, proud as punch and say, I'm against racism. I'm against homophobia. I'm against anything that will harm any human being on this planet, because we're all on this time. I mean, we are in the whole universe. We are just a tiny planet, and there's so many different races, so many different creeds. There's so many, but we all, in the end of the day, we all bleed red, and that is the be all and end of it all.
You bleed red. I thought you bled black and white, like the rest of us. How are you? That's the revelation of the night. Dom's actually a Man United fan or a Liverpool fan.
Well,
that's coming out in the wash now, Dom.
I got a Man United fan coming on me chat on Wednesday, sort of thing. So chatting back to Wednesday's on Sunday's game. So we talked to her about that. So I'm going to get a lost stick off his Senegal.
Just going to bring up Alan Shearer's 50
I've got my ticket.
£10 a ticket to win his match one shirt for his 250 goal, his captain's armband and his boots. £10 a ticket. Please go on to the Alan Shearer Foundation. Pick yourself up a ticket, and it's over. I believe it's over 100,000 now. If anyone knows, I believe it's over 100,000. So that's great for what he's trying to do. I mean, he said on an interview recently, it cost them about 250,000 to run the Alan Shearer Foundation and to give this treatment away to anyone who needs it. So that's massive. And if it's over 100, let's get it to 200,000, 250,000, please. Pick up your tickets and donate. Thank you very much. Coming on to, should we go for? We'll go for the Chelsea on Monday. What's your thoughts on that, John?
It's going to be a very difficult game, I think, against the Chelsea side, and they're just getting back on form at this moment in time. And they won 4 games, and drawn 1, and we're going to go there and hopefully play the same formation, play a 4-3-3, or for me, 4-2-3-1. And I looked to post tweet a day, and according to Keith Downey from Sky, Bruce thinks he's going to play a 5-4-1 again. And if we play that formation, we're going to get absolutely slaughtered anyway. And we played well for the last 3 games. Palace wasn't great, but if we just go there, give it a right go, and okay, you're going to get beat, but give it a right go, then okay, I'll take it. But if you're going to go 5-4-1 and don't put on the show and get beat, then Steve Bruce is going to get further criticism. But I hope that we get something out of the game. But losing the 3 key players, Shearer, Wilson, and Manfredo, is a huge loss. Huge loss. And my worry is he's going to be playing up front. I hope Dwight Gale starts the game. And if you place John Linton, we may as well play with 10 men. But I'm glad Hendrick's not playing tomorrow, because it's a blessing in disguise. Got sent off last week. So it's going to be a very difficult game, how we want to call it. And like I said, if we go there, give it a go, get beat, I'll take it.
Yeah, I think what has been said, I think I said on your show, I think it was something like we've had 19 points out of, 75 at the pitch, and that tells its own tale there. But we tend to get more often when Jose Mourinho. I mean, he's a self-confessed mini magpies, I think he said. Over to you there, Ian.
Yeah. So I've given up trying to predict, because it's such a strange season. So where home and away doesn't appear to matter anymore, because people, you watch this afternoon, West Brom have the worst home record in the Premier League, and Man United have the best away record in the Premier League. And you think it'd be a nailed-on win for Man United, the form they've been in, and they only get a draw, and they could have got beat towards the end. So it is really hard to predict at the moment. And yeah, it's 3-1 up at half time against Southampton. You'd have said with everyone fit, you'd have fancied our chances going to Chelsea. But then obviously we've the injury to Callum Wilson's huge. I mean, it's not just for his goals, for his assists as well. He's been involved in everything we've done going forwards this season. And once you take him out, it's tough. I think despite the lack of bodies in defence, I've got a feeling that if he chucks Hayden in front of the back four and he has done it in the middle, I think they're the type of defenders who'll be good when their backs are against the wall, which I think there will be for Chelsea. So I've got a feeling we're going to have a strong defensive day, but really struggle going forward. So it's 0-0, 1-0 either way. But like I say, I find it really tough to predict what's going to happen at the moment. So yeah, that's where I am. I genuinely could be a win, loss, or a draw, but I don't think it'll be very high scoring.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, like you just said there, there's a lot to do with being no fans in the grounds at all, and they can play the part. I mean, they can lift you, they can also intimidate the opposition as well. Without the fans there, it's kind of an equal playing field, really. I mean, you could play, Burton Albion against Manchester United. It's without the fans there. Would Manchester United even bother to even try? It's getting to that point. Paul, over to you.
Well, I said in my review video, I'm going for a 2-1 Newcastle win, providing he sends them out with the right kind of motivation and the right determination to get something from the game. I was furious when I saw the report today about 5 at the back. I think we are so bad playing 5 at the back. It's statistically proven that we are so bad with 5 at the back, especially with the injuries. I don't understand why he'd risk playing 5 at the back with obviously one of Lascelles or Fernandez has got to come back in. We know they're not fully fit yet. I've gone for a 4-3-3, a little bit different. I think we should just stick to 4 at the back, have 2 holding midfielders and Willock pushing on to help out Fraser, St. Maximan and Almiron. I'd like to see Almiron in the false 9, number 10 position still, because if you look at last week against Southampton, we started the match, we had that formation because we had Wilson playing on the right side, Miggy through the middle and ASM on the left-hand side. So I don't think Chelsea are the team that they were by any stretch of the imagination. I think they're sort of definitely trying to change now that Tuchel's come in. They're still rebuilding, if you like. Some of the players haven't fired on all cylinders yet in the Premier League. They're finding it a bit tough getting used to the pace of it. So I think, and like you say, there's no sort of fans in the stadium. I think it's time we went somewhere and actually, for once, not sit back. Just go for it, Fulham are winning tonight. We can't take the risk of not getting anything from these games. We've got to try. And I believe if he plays in the right places and sends them out with the right motivation, we can hopefully get something.
Yeah. Just to say, welcome, Chippers. It's the first time you're on my stream, to my knowledge. Welcome. Thank you for the comments. Yeah, we've had quite an up and down kind of season at the moment. I mean, we've had a bounce of, what was it, 11 defeats somehow or something like that, or not 1 in 11. But at one point it was kind of balanced. We won 5, drawn 5, lost 5, drawn 2. So it was kind of a balanced season up until then. So I think it all comes down to having the right kind of setup and the right kind of mentality, and even back stuff as well. I mean, we look at the impact on what Graham Jones has done as well. I think he has made a massive impact on the squad. I mean, you looked at the last few games. It hasn't been Bruce that's been stood there barking orders. It's been Graham Jones, and Bruce. All Bruce has done is stood there and gone with his hands in his pockets and flicking his tongue out of his lips. It's honestly, it's frustrating, really, lads. And I don't know what you think on the whole Bruce thing. I mean, does he get a terrible ride, or does he deserve his criticism? There's got to be a happy medium in here somewhere. John?
Well, all I say is when Graham Jones come in, he's does all the shouting and whatever sort of thing, you know, and the players are listening to Graham Jones, not Steve Bruce. Steve Bruce is not very happy that Graham Jones is running the show. And when we played against Palace, I'm pretty sure that Steve Bruce has told Jones to go in the stands, right? Then after 10 minutes, it came down. And then he was told to get back up again. I'll get people on Twitter and that they only came down sort of thing, like to have a word with Bruce. And then he went straight back up. So he must have told someone to Graham, look, I'll run in the show, you keep your mouth shut, yeah? But I think Bruce is just jealous because at the end of the day, Dylan will get his nose out of a joint and it's all Graham Jones's work. Steve Bruce have never played a 4-3-1-2 or 4-3-3-3. He hasn't done it. And at the end of the day, that's not down to Bruce, that's down to Jones. And I think those two's going to clash soon. I can see it coming. I can see it both going to clash sooner rather than later. If things goes, it's going to come to a heat. And I don't think it's going to be good. But I think Steve Bruce, for me, and I've always said this, I mean, for his own sake, his own health, I think he needs to walk. But he won't walk because he don't want to lose out on his £1.5 million compo. Do you know what I mean? But one thing I will say, before I'm going to Paul and Ian, if there's fans in the stadium and Bruce produces results like this, he'll not get away with it. He'll be gone. The fans will have him for breakfast and he'll be gone.
Yeah, completely agree with that.
I agree with you on if the fans are in the stadium, I think he may have gone on the back of the losses in a row we had, you know, the really bad run we went on. Because of the pressure of the crowd, that's quite possible. I mean, we know the crowd is generally a 12th man, you know. We can tell that because, you know, of everybody's home form to away form, and they do have an impact. I am going to disagree with you on the Graham Jones thing. And the main evidence I've got is the Leeds match. So obviously in the Leeds match, in the first half, we were exactly like we'd been for the previous 10 games where we'd lost every game. No confidence. Nobody wanted to step up on the pitch, not closing people down, sitting back, letting them dictate. And then in the second half, we came out and we played really well and we deserved a draw out of that game. And you looked at the players in the second half and they were pressing high. They were doing the right things. They had their tails up. They worked really hard off the ball all of a sudden to win it back. And that was before Graham Jones turned up. So the idea that one new face coming in made such a huge impact, I don't think is the case. I obviously I go at the club as a volunteer. I know a lot of the staff at the club. Steve Bruce within the walls of St James's Park is quite a popular man. He gets on with a lot of people. He goes to get on with a lot of people. I don't think he would necessarily create tension with a coach coming in. I think he probably had a role in bringing Graham Jones in as somebody who is a fellow sort of local lad. I think they'd want to work together. They wouldn't want to work against each other. I think Steve's quite a relaxed guy, so you'll be happy to see Graham sort of contributing a lot. So I don't buy into this theory that, you know, he's not happy that Graham's doing a good job. It's part of his job for him and things like that, and taking the pressure off him. I just don't buy into it. I think sometimes you get a snapshot of you know, the dugout and stuff, and people read the body language, but it's like, well, what were they doing for the other 89 minutes, and what was the body language like then? You know, but that's the bit that's easy to make a meme out of, just to suit the sort of anti-Bruce rhetoric. I'm not pro Bruce necessarily, because I think he should have been sacked on the run of results we had. Over the Christmas period, and particularly the performances in the cup in the quarterfinals. I thought it was exceptionally poor, and he's very lucky to be where he is. But I wouldn't hold it against him personally, sort of thing. I don't buy into this. The amount of abuse he gets, and particularly when obviously we've been talking about online abuse and him talking about some of the death threats he gets on a regular basis, which I already knew was the case with both the owner and the manager long before it became public knowledge during the week. So that's things that the club deals with on a regular basis. It's just not often the public find out about it.
Yeah, can I just say something as well, mate? I mean, you just mentioned online abuse. The one thing I do not agree with or won't accept is fans from social media abusing managers such as Steve Bruce. No way. No one do not deserve that. No one at all. And I will say that now.
Yeah. As I was just about to say there, Ian, I completely agree with you. I mean, we off the back of the Leeds performance, we don't know whether Jones was there or not, to be honest. But at the same time, you know, that was kind of the springboard, I think, that second half at Leeds that kind of pushed us on to the next level, or onto the run we are on now. I mean, okay, we won. Was it before Crystal Palace?
Yeah, we won at Everton and then lost to Palace,
So
didn't we?
Graham Jones we played Leeds on the Wednesday. Graham Jones arrived on the Friday, and we beat Everton on the Saturday.
Saturday, yeah.
So, but like I say, there were signs in the Leeds game that we were actually capable of a performance like the Everton game without Graham Jones. So I didn't buy into the theory that he'd suddenly come and waved a magic wand, because actually we'd shown signs in the previous game against another decent team in Leeds.
So would you say the players finally woke up and said, you know, we've got to be doing more here?
I think the idea that he's lost the dressing room's wrong, because they work so hard against Leeds in that second half. They work so hard against Everton and such. Like, I think it's just confidence with a lot of them. You know, it's just being so used to being without the ball and sitting in formation and not pressing properly. I think perhaps he hasn't lost the dressing room. At the same time, he can't get them to do what he wants them to do all the time. And I mean, at the end of that is part of the job of a manager. And if he hasn't managed to do that, then he, you know, needs to be accountable for that. But I think any manager has, you know, can only have so much influence over their team and their players. And those players themselves are the ones that seem to be able to switch it on and switch it off at any given notice of being, you know, really good off the ball and doing the right things, to suddenly just sitting back and just letting the opposition play through you.
Yeah. Paul?
I mean, I've made my feelings quite clear on Steve Bruce. I don't rate him as a manager at all. Certainly in the Premier League. Again, you know, if these death threats have been happening, then it's wrong, completely wrong. It's abhorrent. It's you know, pathetic, really. But from a footballing point of view, I think saying he's lost the dressing room, you know, I did think that at one stage, but having seen the last few games, you know, I think there's players out there on that team that do need to take a good hard look at themselves for the way they've performed this season. The likes of Shelvey, who is supposed to be a captain. For me, he's not. Nowhere near a captain. I do believe that Graham Jones has come in and he has had an effect. I do think that, you know, he's obviously given Bruce some ideas, some different ideas to try. Some have worked, some haven't. I think we'll see tomorrow night what kind of impact if we go 5 at the back, because Graham Jones was well known for playing 5 at the back at his time at Luton and when he was at Bournemouth. So it's hard to say. I don't agree with the online abuse for Steve Bruce, but on the flip side of that, I also don't believe he's good enough as a manager. I think his press conference when he's come out and, you know, had a little sly digs at the fans, I don't agree with that. He's you know, for a guy who's trying to get the fans on board, he's going the wrong way about it by what he says in his press conferences. I think he needs to be a lot more positive in his press conferences for when he's talking about being on the football pitch, who we're going up against. He praises the opposition all the time without bigging his own team up. You know, we'll try and get something. We'll try here. We'll try there. You know, be a bit more positive. Say we're going down there to get something, etc. And you know, I can understand why all the fans get very, very frustrated. The football has been abysmal until the last few games. So, you know, the whole coaching setup maybe is now looking at things a little bit differently, i.e. how they play on the pitch, different formations, putting players in the right positions. If you look at since we've picked up, it's because players are playing where they are normally playing, you know, in the right positions instead of square pegs and round holes. and suddenly we start performing. And I think that's had a massive impact on getting results, is the fact that we're not playing players out of position. Look at the likes of Miggy. He's excelled since he's been back in the number 10 role. It's simple football when you think about it. Just play people where they're used to playing and where we signed them as players, and then we'll be fine. I'm sure of it.
Yeah, of course. Just the message there by Chippers. Sorry. Why does it start halfway through a season to take 19 months to click? Something isn't right at the club. Of course it isn't. It takes 19 months to actually get a team to start moving and to start playing. That's you touched on that just now there. It has been a problem, and I think it has been a problem for a long while. We've not quite had the we've put square players at the round holes. That has been a problem for many years, and unfortunately, if we still got Mike Ashley after all this, it's going to be the same. So hopefully, that big word there, takeover. Let's hope that can get sorted out. Unfortunately, I had to come on to the subject. So the takeover. Here we go. We've been hearing a lot on social media. Some of it bullshit. Some of it, some educated. We've been seeing a bit of movement, a bit of more vocal on the media side as well, saying we could hear something in 2 weeks, we could hear something in 3 weeks. Start with you, John. There, what would be your ideal? I mean, we're talking 2-3 weeks. We could be talking 3 months here, really. But where would be your thoughts on it all?
Well, I'll try to avoid a takeover as well, if I'm honest with you. But listen, I still think it'll happen. I still think it's happening in the background, right? But I'm glad it's been quiet because I don't want it to go all over Twitter or social media, like circus, yeah? But at the end of the day, I think it will happen. And I still think DeMarco, right, will take the Premier League to court. But then again, the Premier League do not want to go to court. Do you know what I mean? I think you're trying to avoid that and just say, okay, you know what? Let's do it. Let's do things. We'd have to go to court, yeah. Just do our settlement sort of thing. I think it will happen because Ashley wants to sell the club. The Saudis want to buy the club, yeah. But the Premier League are just being absolute clowns and not accepted it still. I just don't understand why. They're to blame for it as well, But eventually, get to it over, and I know Saudis and Qatar are like that now, sort of thing. So we'll start watching their games in Saudis, apparently. Whether it's true or not, I don't know. But if it's true, then it's good news, I think. So hopefully it'll come to buy. And I don't know what Ian would think. I don't know what Ian would make of it as well. Do you agree with that, Ian, or do you think differently? Or
it's difficult for me to comment on this one because I have an existing relationship with the current ownership and management. So I've got to be very careful what I say.
I'm
limited with all I can say. What I can say is that obviously the club is for sale still. It has been for sale for a long time, which is a problem in itself because it's essentially, as we know, a shell of a club, an organisation. When any business is for sale, the person who owns that business isn't going to put the heart and soul into it whilst it's for sale. They're going to make it as sellable as possible, but they're not really going to have that heart into growing it much more. They want to put minimum effort for maximum profit on the sale. So that's the situation we're in. The other things I can comment on is if rumour starts to come around again about takeover coming from Saudi Arabia, which does have an LGBT human rights record, not to be proud of. That doesn't give anyone online the excuse to then start chucking abuse around, because we did experience that the first time round and we had to deal with a lot of it. That leads me on to the only point I really can make about Unite with Pride's position is, regardless of whoever owns our club, regardless of whoever manages our club, regardless of whichever league and level of the game we play in, even if we ended up down in League One playing the scum, we would still be here with the same consistent message that homophobia, biphobia, transphobia, racism, disability discrimination has no place in the game. It's the James's Park.
Well said.
Yeah, well said that, Ian. I mean, once I gone to John there, I was going to go to Paul, then you, because there was something I was going to put there to you, and you've actually answered it just there. Because I did notice that you did put out a tweet and said, because of the Saudi takeover, you got a lot of abuse from sects of fans or sects of this and that. So what I'd say is that I would hope, really, because we see the Saudis being just the money men. Really, it would be the Amanda Stavely, it would be the Rubens involved in there as well, and I would hope, and if any of them had seen this, Amanda or Jamie saw this, I would say to them, please just engage and keep put my teeth back in, get the community together and keep the community together as well.
United with Pride do have a position on this, and we had that position well prepared over a period of time, working with the club, and we did a lot of work behind the scenes with the club. None of it became public because it was always a hypothetical situation. It was like, if it happens, because it hasn't happened and it may still never happen. So therefore, we like to say, can't really comment on much more regarding that until something concrete turns up. Whilst it's still all speculation, cannot really do anything about it. Just got to concentrate on what's in front of her and the things as they stand at the moment.
Well said, mate. Well said. Paul?
Well, I think Ian's right with the word concrete. I'm sick of reading stuff online, people saying, oh, somebody's airplane's here and, two people have met in the same place. That's a bit of a coincidence and all of this. Exactly. And it does my head in, saying, oh, there's a flight leaving from Saudi Arabia coming to Newcastle and all this garbage. I don't want to hear anything about a takeover until it's actually concrete, official. I've always said I've laughed, with the guys on my shows. Amanda Stavely standing in the middle of the pitch, waving a black and white bra above her head. Just something daft like that. It's just, just to be, saying, yes, I own the club kind of thing, and we're here now, and everything's going to be great for you fans after everything you've been through, and we're here to put things right. And I just want to see her with the Rubens in the middle of the pitch and saying, we own the club now, everything's done and dusted. No, none of this, when it was first announced that the takeover was going through, like Ian said, there was a lot of hate towards certain groups, as Ian well knows, which is ridiculous, because Ian's worked hard, to get where his group are, and they have to have a say. Yes, we know about Saudi Arabia, we know about the human rights issues that go on over there, but like you said, Dom, they could just be the money men, and actual run of the club would hopefully be down to Stavely and the Rubens or whoever else they bring in to help run the club. So Ian can continue his good work with his group. Everything can hopefully go even further with them, and they can actually help Ian a lot more. So we just have to wait and see. But that word concrete is all I want. I just want a concrete announcement, something to happen behind the scenes, and then announce it to the fans, rather than all this rubbish on social media, people putting rumors out about 2 weeks, 3 months, 6 months, or whatever it may be. I don't want to know. I just want the announcement, and that'll do me. Rather than sitting just reading through absolute rubbish on social media about airplanes and stuff. I'm not bothered. I just want to see an announcement.
But it's all good fun just reading about planes flying everywhere. It's like being on holiday, isn't it?
Or people put banana bread recipe for a particular day on Twitter.
Yeah, I mean, Nick DeMarco giving sort of all these, I don't know, little sort of snippets of possibilities. It's rubbish, man. He's not putting like, the way he stacks his cans or the way he cuts his bread. It's nothing to do with the takeover. And there was something came out yesterday. I think John, we spoke about it last night on Peter's show, that there was a thing about Nick DeMarco and Kevin Maguire, and people were thinking, oh, it's the Newcastle takeover. Kevin Maguire is a Sunderland fan. It had nothing to do with Newcastle United. So it's just people are picking these things up and running with them when they need to know the true facts. Kevin Maguire was talking about the Sunderland takeover, which Nick DeMarco may well be involved in because he's involved in a lot of football clubs. So the fact of the matter is, Kevin Maguire is red and white through and through. It had nothing to do with Newcastle United, yet some people picked it up, ran with it, and thought the takeover's happening. And it's ridiculous.
It's just getting laughable now, do you know what I mean? But great, it's gonna happen, do you know what I mean? But Paul, I agree with you, man. Just gonna say now, okay, get up one morning, it could be three weeks' time, 3 months' time, wake up and just say, breaking news, Newcastle is finally be taken over, sort of thing, simple as that. But until then, Twitter can say what they want, how they want. I'm just gonna say, I'm not gonna say now. I'm just gonna laugh it off. I want it officially. I want to see Amanda Stavely or the Rubens have their scarves over their heads, right, saying, we're in our own ass at the club. It's as simple as that. Until then, there's still time, but just let us on this course, yeah? Just let them get on with it. Let Nick DeMarco do his thing. You get on with it, mate, and then everyone's going to be happy. Then we can start celebrating. Until then, I would hate to say it's Ashley's club.
I mean, putting radar pictures on Twitter, aeroplane radar apps, showing an aeroplane coming from Saudi Arabia heading to Newcastle, and it's also, people jumping on the bandwagon. Oh, there's got to be a reason for this. There's got to be a reason for that, and it's just like there's no reason at all. Planes fly all over every single day. Maybe it's not so much at the minute, but you know what I mean. The skies are always full of planes going in different directions, and for me, it's just it's crazy. It gets crazily out of hand.
I've done got visions of Amanda Stavely with a black and white bra. But she wouldn't do that, though, because surely Delia Smith's got to have already done that at Norwich. I mean,
that's a good point, yeah.
On a match day when she's had a couple too many.
That's a good point. Yeah, it's already been done.
I'm just going to throw my sponsors out for this week, for this month, should I say. NUFC Hotspot, makers of pin badges for the tune. And also Bowhead Bubble Hats, makers of hats, socks as well. Newcastle socks, Chelsea, Liverpool, whoever. What's your poison? So, yeah, just give them a shout out. Please look them up, and thank you very much. We come on to Mr. Mike Ashley. We'd already mentioned.
I think that picture's just turned me straight.
I tell you what, you'd be better off on pole dancing at the end of the day.
That's enough to give you nightmares.
As Ian said, he's a guy that, is definitely looking to be out the club now. And we've got to get him out the club now also. And the fans want him out the club. And stop us stagnating now. I mean, we're sitting 17th in the league. You've had Fulham pick up points today. You've had West Brom pick up a point. It's starting to become quite precarious. I mean, I don't know how many of you guys think we could be clawed quickly into that bottom three. John?
I tell you what, I think just going to go to the wire this. I'm going to say that. Listen, I want to be positive on Newcastle, so we're going to stay up, yeah. But if you look at the games you've got to play Burnley away, Brighton away, Fulham away. Right? Look at the last 5 fixtures you've got. Yeah, we got to play Liverpool away, Man City at home. Also away before that, at home actually. We got to play Sheffield United at home, Fulham away. And I tell you what, I think we may have enough to stay up this season. But at the end of the day, I think it's going to go to the wire. But we're under pressure now because Fulham's won the night, yeah? And what's the 7 points behind us now? I think Fulham is they've drawn too many games, and that is why we're still 17th at this moment in time. But I think another couple of games tells us exactly where we're going to go. But at this moment in time, we're under pressure now, to start winning some games.
Yeah. Ian?
So couple of things to say around the owner. Obviously, the amount of negativity from the fan base that goes to the owner is well documented. And all I want to remind everybody is that there is staff there who work very hard at that club and do a lot of amazing things that don't ever reach the press. So there's this common misconception that everything that Ashley does, he's trying to make money out of and all the rest of it. So as I mentioned before, the United's One programme converted corporate boxes into autistic multi-sensory rooms. That cost them a lot of money. They were going to sponsor Pride last year because we were hosting UK Pride. They were going to spend money on that, so they do the Memory Cafe as well. They host, so they do a huge amount of community work still. And it's my concern is that we're also desperate for a different owner. And yes, we are, because he wants to sell it, and he's wanted to sell it for a long time. There's two things with that. One, we know he doesn't sell anything cheap. You look at what the money we got for Sissoko and Wijnaldum and Andy Carroll and all the rest of it. He doesn't give anything away. So he's always going to hold out for a good price. He doesn't want to own the club, so that would be a reason for changing owners. But when you get a new owner in, remember that there are as many clubs that are fallen down 1, 2, or 3 leagues and have become absolute shells of clubs because the next owner that came in was worse than the previous owner. And I know we all think Mike Ashley isn't a very good football owner, he said it himself, but you could get rid of him and then there could be a Wenger come in. Or Blackburn's former owners, Portsmouth's former owners, Leeds, when Rid still, relegate them down. We've seen examples where new owners have come in as their new plaything, and we are a Premier League club. Yes, we're up and down yo-yo club at the moment. That's where we are. If you were to give we're ranked placer now, we're probably at 15, 16, 17 is about where we are and we should be. I do think the club's moved forward a little bit in terms of squad. I would argue at the moment we are a Premier League squad with a Championship manager, whereas under Rafa we were a Championship squad with a Premier League manager. An example of that is where when we would lose Rondon to injury, we only had Hosselu and nobody else on the bench. Now we've lost Callum Wilson, but at least we've got 3 options, and Dwight Gale is a proven Championship striker. Carroll has been playing in the Premier League for a long time, and we spent a lot of money on Joe Linton. That's all I'm going to say about it. So you could argue that our squad depth is better than it was 2 years ago, and I don't think many people would argue against that. So there has been some investment gone in. So it's maybe a minimum amount of expectation, but there has been something in. So, like I say, we've seen bigger car crash owners than Mike Ashley's been in the last 13 years. And yes, we'd all love somebody to come in and wave a magic wand and just give us a fortune and have we're doing Champions League football. But the reality is football is a business. Most business people want to come in and make money and asset strip. It's that's the reality.
Everybody, and I remember Lord Westwood as being owner.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. So people ask, "Oh, why do you still watch Newcastle United? Why do you still go to the games? Why are you still seeing ticket holder?" My first game was watching us be the dregs of the old second division, getting beat at home off Millwall as a kid. So they were my first experiences, 1990. When we were probably the low point in our history, we're lowest just before Keegan came in. And that was a low point. What we've got at the moment is, yes, we're not very good. We're 17th in the Premier League, but we're 10 points away from relegation. And for me, we're still in a better position than we were when I first fell in love with the club. So it's going to have to go a long way down there before I actually sort of complain to a level of hounding somebody out and giving them abuse and stuff for it's before I even think about abandoning my own team.
Over to you there, Paul.
Well, I agree with Ian on the fact that you have to be careful who comes in next, because if you look at Burnley, for example, they've just been taken over and then they find themselves £90 million in debt. For me, I want to know what the hell went on with that takeover, because how that got through, I do not know. I mean, that's going down to investigation. So, there is that. And with regards to Mike Ashley, I think as supporters, we've done everything, we can towards Mike Ashley, just, that we don't want him here anymore. We don't want him in charge of the club. But to be fair to Mike, on the other hand, he has put the club up for sale and he's doing all he can to get the sale through. I do believe he was working very hard to get the Saudi takeover done. It hasn't been done yet. It may well get done, but at least what more can he do? Apart from put the club up for sale, he's not going to. He's a businessman, and he wouldn't have got where he was today if he was an easy fella to buy things off. It doesn't work like that. He's a fully fledged businessman. He's a hard-nosed businessman who has made his money by being that kind of person. So he's not just going to sit and say, "Oh, I'll take a couple of $100 million." He will take what he wants for that club and what he feels it's worth. Now, is that the right thing to do in his eyes? Yes, but he's trying to sell the club, and we know it's up for sale. So what more can he do? We just have to wait for people to come in and buy it. But we have to be careful of where we go next, because if it's not the Saudis, then we have to be careful of who it's going to be, because there's some really dodgy people out there who want to buy football clubs, who have no interest in football and just want their name put out there, like the Venkies, for instance, at Blackburn. All they were bothered about was putting the name out there, improving the other businesses that they had. They weren't bothered about Blackburn Football Club in the slightest. Yeah. So we have to be careful on that. And Wigan Athletic, exactly. There's a lot of clubs, yeah.
And you've got, the thing is, we're all romantics. We all want another Jack Walker or a type character, Sir John Hall, a local hero who's got millions of pounds just to waste on an asset and just to spend. And there's no, football's too much of a business. There's too much money in it now to not want to go into it to make money. And that's what most people do. And, that's always going to happen at the end of the day. So the chances of us getting an owner in who's exactly who we would like to be is slim to none beyond this. So the aim is to have an owner who is more interested in running the club than our current one at the moment. And that will get us somewhere. But like I say, we've got to be very careful on just literally wanting rid of the owner, just have anybody in, because as you say, there are as many owners that are much worse at running a club than Mike Ashley than there are that are better.
I just hope that we don't I'm not bothered if a new owner came in who was a billion or trillionaire, whatever it may be. All I want is an owner who would have a bit of ambition for the club to move forward. Not necessarily spending billions of pounds on players or whatever, just upgrading the whole thing, the training ground, the stadium, touching that up a little bit, getting a proper team together that wants to achieve things or try and win things. It's not all about just spending billions of pounds and then just winning everything. I just want to see somebody come in who cares about the football club and who cares about the fans and wants to improve that side of things for everybody, whether they be billionaires or just have enough money to run the club. I'm not bothered, as long as it's somebody who has the heart and soul of the club in their head to do something about it and improve it. And it's not all about the money for me. It's just having a team with a bit of ambition, an ownership that communicates with the fans on a regular basis, everything like that, just a feel-good factor around Newcastle. We haven't had that for so long. Just a nice feel-good factor around the club that is working with the fans, working with all the different organisations, trying to move the club forwards.
And just have a team to be proud with as well. It'd take about 3-4 years to build on, sort of thing, build it up. I don't mean, like you said, don't spend billions of pounds straight away, just like a 5-year project sort of thing, and then after that, then move to the next level. Do you know what I mean? But all it is, right, is just, just go there, start with a training facility, just build a team, get a decent manager coming in, give us a football to be proud with. It may take 3, 4, 5 years to get to Europe. So if there's a plan, I take it.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the size of St James's Park, I mean, 56,000. It's enough to generate enough money as well, and advertise and everything else. You look at Ashley, and he takes out a lot of money out of that club. I mean, a lot of the money that he generates from the club is his money. But at the same time, shouldn't the club generate its own money so you can spend year on year on year? I mean, okay, at the moment we've got no gate receipts, we've got no, nothing coming in on that side of things. But if you can build on that support, you don't have to spend your own money. That's the be all and end all of it. You don't have to spend your own money. All it is just using what a club can generate. And at the moment, we weren't generating enough because, you look at how Ashley's treated this club over 14 years. It's not been good enough. We could have generated a hell of a lot more money. I mean, him sticking his Sports Direct bits and pieces all over the place, that could have been advertising for someone else and generated a bit more cash. How much did he pay for the Sports Direct advertising? I think it was about $1.5 million, 2 million, something like that. Eventually, after about 13 years, he never paid a penny for that 13 years of advertising his Sports Direct. That's his prerogative. He owns the club, so he can do that. He can do whatever he likes. But unfortunately, it's not making money. And if you want to make money from football, you want to generate money from football, you've literally you can't be selfish and advertise just yourself, because the club will not generate money or enough money what you want to do with it. Am I right there?
From a finances perspective, I guess it's difficult because he inherited a club that was spending beyond its means, and when you spend beyond your means, you're gambling. So it is a gamble. You can invest heavily and gamble a bit, and that gamble might pay off, and you might get the payout back. So it depends how aggressive, how much of a gambler you are. Or do you want to just spend, a little bit to try and maintain where you are at the moment? And that's, I guess, kind of where we are. I suppose, he took a gamble, presumably okaying the funds for the three most expensive signings we have, which was Almiron, who seems to be being paid off now, although initially we weren't so sure. Off St Maximum, who looks like he's going to be well worth the money. And then you've got Joe Linton, who so far hasn't shown anything near the potential of £40 million signing. I will point out we're not the only club that's gambled with that amount of money. West Ham with Haller, and a few others, Pepe at Arsenal, overpaid for some of these players just to sit on the bench, So, but at least it shows signs of willing to put some investment in. So a little bit of gambling here and there, but you're right. Until we get an owner in who's got it as their priority, that opportunity is always going to be limited.
Yeah. Anyway, guys, time's ticking on, unfortunately. John, give me your prediction for Monday. I know you said you didn't want to, but go on. You've got to give one.
Yeah, I'm going to say 2-0 Chelsea. But as long as he's fine, give it a go. 2-0.
Yep. Oh, God. Right. Okay. Ian?
I'm going to go 1-1.
1-1. Paul?
1-1.
2-1 Newcastle. Away. Please.
I like your positivity there, Paul.
We've got to be.
I'll say, if you want to give your, your channel out, if you wish, and also your Twitter page as well.
Was that John or me?
No, me.
John. Yeah, John.
On Twitter, John_NUFC42. On the YouTube is John Sinclair, but also type in NUFC and it'll come up.
Yeah. Ian?
United with Pride is on Twitter, handle UTD with Pride. It's on Facebook and it's on Instagram. We also have an email address. If anybody has any interest in making St James's Park a more inclusive place and to stamp out homophobia, biphobia and transphobia in football, get in touch. Half our committee are straight allies. It's not just a space for LGBT fans. It is. it's a safe environment for them, but it's also for anyone who has an interest in kicking out homophobia. We've got our AGM coming up this week, actually. So we've got loads going on. We do socials and stuff. So if anybody wants to get involved with an official fans group, then feel free. It doesn't cost anything to join with.
Yeah, Paul.
It's the Toon Review on YouTube. I think I'm about 10 away from 1,000 now subscribers. So if you haven't already, please do help me get over the line. It's been a long slog. And I'm at the Toon Review on Twitter as well. Ian, I'll definitely be interested in doing something like that and helping out if in any way I can. Obviously, I've been through the abuse myself. I know what it's like. So to help something like your cause would mean a lot to me, actually. So I'll probably get in touch through Twitter.
Please do.
Yeah.
That'd be great. Yeah.
Always
happy to have more in the family. So that'd be great. We'd appreciate it.
Brilliant.
You've saw my wife recently as well, Ian.
She wants a scarf, doesn't she? She wants a bespoke scarf. So I'm trying to work out a way to do it. But obviously we still have some of these scarves for sale as well. We're currently, it's Football v Homophobia Month and LGBT History Month. So we're currently doing a series of Scarf Army supporters on Twitter and Facebook every day.
Awesome.
Brilliant.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Thanks for coming on. I mean, 1 year's late notice as well. Thanks, John.
Thanks very much indeed, having us on, and I'll definitely be back again, man.
Yeah, no
Thanks
problem,
very much.
mate. Thanks so much, guys.
Thanks a lot, now.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Guys.
See, normally at this point, I go completely whappy and you can't hear me. I don't know whether you still can. So what I will do is I can you hear me? Yeah. I think people hear me now. What I'll do is where are we? Sorry. It's been the first one for a while. Right? I want to bring this up again just for the last time because it's Steve Bruce. You can't get any better than that, really. So, last time, that one's coming out. Anyone else worry about this fella here? You know, he's out for 8 weeks. We've been told. So, not good, not great. Is this meant to replace him? I very much doubt it, Mr. Jolinton, but you know, we've become a bit more attacking now. So could he flourish now in attacking team? We get to see. Just another shout out to my sponsors this week or this month. Sorry, should I say? And we'll say Hotspot, make your page bad. And others, if you want to give a look at their framed shirts as well, which they put up, and a framed Rafa Benitez picture as well, which was awesome. I did mention on my Twitter feed, it was absolutely brilliant, and I might buy one myself. And also, Boy Blats, makers of. There. I'm in sight now for some reason. I don't know. Did that come up? There we go. Yeah, Boy Bubble Hat. Sorry, lads. I'm having a few technical difficulties tonight, so bear with me. Boy Bubble Hats, makers of bubble hats. I've had new bubble hats and socks in from their suppliers, but they weren't happy with them and they want to make sure they're all top notch for you supporters. So give them a look. See, awesome company, very fast delivery as well. Just to run, it's the prize draw for Mr. Shearer. Please come up, there we go. Alan Shearer's match worn boots as a prize draw to buy a ticket, which is for the foundation, and it costs them $250,000 just to keep going, and it's just to keep giving away instead of people paying for their their care within this unit for disabilities and whatever else. Costing $250,000 a year just to give it away to us for free. So, yeah, that's over 100,000 now, as far as I know. Just to bring up the picture again for, there we go, Mr. Alan. That his much more shirt is band signed as well as his much worn boots. So what I would do is,
this isn't just about me.
Again,
It's not just about me.
Or me.
This is about you and me.
This is about us.
This is about everyone we connect with.
Everyone who makes our club.
Everyone who makes our community.
This is about celebrating what makes every one of us different.
Because that's what makes us united.
United as one.
United as one.
United as one.
yeah, so that is that. Look, guys, please get onto these issues as well. Racism, homophobia. We can't be having this at all. And I don't stand for it. So just to say good night, everyone. Hope you're happy being safe. And good night.